Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to set the valves on a Kohler K series engine. They want the gap on this to be between 8 and 10 thousandths for the intake and 17 to 19 thousandths for the exhaust. If you're not sure which one's which, the intake valve is on the side with the intake for the carburetor, and the exhaust valve is on the side with the exhaust. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now anytime I do this, I always go kind of middle of the road on the spec, so I'll start with the intake at 9,000. Now before you start to adjust, you need to make sure that the engine is rolled over to top dead center. That way the lifters are down as far as they're going to go. And I check it with my feeler gauge and I can see that it is loose. You'll need a 1/2 inch wrench and a 3/8 wrench. And go just a little bit. It doesn't take a lot to move these. Go a little bit and check it. Getting pretty close to where I want to be. Just a little tiny bit more, and I'll be happy with that. Okay, you want the feeler gauge to go in and have just a slight bit of resistance. If you really have to push it in there, then it's obviously too tight. Now we'll switch out to the 18 thousandths gauge and do the exhaust exact same way, and that one is just a little tiny bit tight. It's about perfect right there. Alright, so we'll go ahead and assemble the breather. I was apparently not thinking ahead, and I did not get the stud for the breather out of the old block. You can take this stud in and out with vice grips. You can grip it down below the threads, no problem. Make sure the stud's in there good and tight. Now, as usual, there is always a debate on how to do things, and you definitely don't want to use silicone when you're putting these gaskets on. On this plate, you see the hole right here. You have to make sure that hole is at the bottom, and if you use silicone and that hole gets plugged, this cannot drain the oil back out of it, and that will lead to oil blowing out of the vent. You can put the gaskets on dry. That's what some people recommend. I'm going to use the Permatex spray gasket sealant. It just makes them just sticky enough, and it'll take care of any minor imperfections that might be in the block that could cause a leak. That goes on with that gasket first. and then you make sure your reed valve is in there. Then you knock the camera over like an idiot. There we go. This isn't a Hollywood production. Then you put that plate in. Then there is a rubber put the breather material in. Now you're ready for the second gasket. Now it's important before you tighten it down that you try to get it as square onto the side of the block as you can. That way it seals good, and you don't want to over tighten the nut. You don't want to crush the outer plate. Alright, there we go. That's how you set the valves and put the breather together on a Kohler motor. Thanks for watching.